surprised me how small of a city Portland is. I really like that homey feel.
So it's a big city, you still get to see the moon at night and the stars. We talked a bit, and then one of them said, "You people just don't realize what you've got here. It's so wonderful." Well, when we moved to Portland in 1983, Forest Park, which also includes the Japanese Garden and the International Rose Garden, and the zoo and an arboretum,
right.
and all these things. All those things I've mentioned are in walking distance from home here. Dusk time, evening, I happened upon a couple, and the lady was quite pregnant, and they were just standing in a quiet place and things. And as I went by, I said, "It looks like there's a miracle going on here." and so we talked just very briefly, and then later on, turns out they lived just down the street, half a block here, and walking. I didn't know that, but so they spoke to me as I walked by the lawn in the front of their complex, and spoke to me, and they had this little baby then, so we just chatted, and they remembered me doing that, and remembered it as a pleasant interaction, and just a couple of days ago, the mom was holding the baby and stopped to talk to me as I went by on the street. And now the baby has 2 front teeth, so it's like gone that long. But they still remember having seen me before the baby was born and stuff. So these kind of things are frequent and possible here.
One of the things that I noticed when I first moved here is at the bus station and also at the train station is that they have the honored citizen. So they don't say senior citizen here.
Yeah.
They say honored citizen,
Mm-hmm.
and I found that really beautiful. That was one of the first things I noticed. And is that something that's recent, or has that been part of Portland culture for a while?
It's been in the 15 years since I got to be old enough to be honored. so we get discounted senior citizen or honored citizen. Also involves handicapped.
I've been in Portland for about 6 months now.
And what is like the coolest thing about Portland that's so far your impression?
So far, what I really like is it's a city, but it has a small town feel. I grew up on the East Coast in a small town, and I really enjoy kind of having that tight-knit group throughout the city.
I would say, as opposed to other big cities that pride themselves on being more unique, I'd say Portland is more nurturing. A lot of kind people here. A lot of people who enjoy nurturing, like people who love plants, who love, like at our flower shop. People like to take care of each other and the world around us.
I think Portland's pretty sweet because of its take on craftsmanship, and like I think that's reflected in the amount of microbreweries that are in the city, and all of the interesting food that's being made in the city, and the amount of different types of design that's taking place here. And I think it's just a hubbub for things like that, whereas other cities are much like larger. Portland's just a nice little epicenter of interesting and unique craftsmanship. And I think that obviously attracts people who are doing creative things because they're able to have a job and afford to live and still have their free time to like do their creative endeavors. So in Portland you get a lot. Spring, just the natural transformation the city goes through is pretty unbelievable.
I love how close we are to everything because, you know, you can take a day trip to the beach, you can also take a day trip to the mountain, you can go to the desert, you can go, I mean, they're all within 2 or 3 hours.
Doing great.
Just the fact that I get to work with puppies and dogs and animals. Well, I don't work with them, but they come in, and how dog and animal friendly Portland, the city, is. But I also love the beer and the wine. I have to admit, there's so much good alcohol options, home brewing and local breweries and wineries, and it's gorgeous weather. Just perfect
It
weather.
kind of like pours for a few minutes, and then the sun comes out, then it hails, and it's like, what's going on?
Yes, it does hail for a couple seconds.
And the dog culture here is huge.
It's huge. I mean, it's blown up, I think, in the last few years, but it's great. There's dog daycares everywhere, all kinds of boarding options, vets everywhere, adoptions, like every corner. Or, well,
Really?
maybe not every corner, but everywhere you can probably find a place to adopt a kitty or a puppy, give them a loving home. So that's great. Dogs, that's the main thing. I love the dogs. Biking scares me. Everyone loves biking, but I'm afraid the cars are too scary to bike with. Anything else?
I think what I love about Portland the most is how gentle it is. It's just such a gentle place to be. It's not harsh.
It's not like the crazy big city. But it's just...
It's a food cart that's right between Kearney and Lovejoy. And my favorite is the smoking goat. It's goat cheese, bacon, fig jam, almond butter.
Delicious.
And they grill it. So it's like hot and creamy and salty and delicious. Oregon native. Been here
Born
my
and
whole
bred.
life. Yep.
Deliver them to us. They're so good. Dogs love them.
What is it?
It's a... Do you want to know? It's a bull penis.
Completely digestible.
Yes. So it's great. Very digestible for any dog. They much better than like raw hides or something that isn't complete.
Turtle sit.
Okay.
There you go! Good boy! Yay!
Good boy, T.
Good boy.
Oh yeah.
So, hey, take care of yourself. And I'm 21 years old. I was born here in Portland, and I grew up right down the street. I own a food cart right up the block on 21st.
Which one is it?
It's called Street Meat, and it's late night. It's open from 10:30 p.m. till about 3:30 a.m. And I've been doing that since I was 18. And it's an awesome way to get to know people in your community and to get out and have a great time. It's probably the best job I think I've ever had or created. There's been a lot of change recently, but the main things stay the same. It's a great place to find a good sense of community. The people here are amazing. The food is even better. The bars are great too. all my friends and family live here, so it's always going to feel like home.
Food cart, what got you started with that?
Well, it was originally my best friend in high school's mom's, and she did it just to make side money. And I used to help her when I was a kid, like when I was 15. It was the only way my dad would let me stay out late. So I would get to stay out every Friday and Saturday till like 3 in the morning as a 15-year-old kid. And I kind of fell in love with it then. And you get to know everybody, and everyone says hello every night, and they ask you how you're doing, and you kind of get to catch up with everyone. And it's probably the easiest place to make a family or make friends that you could travel to. I think people are really accepting here. And if you put yourself out there, Portland's definitely a city where you're more likely to meet someone and see him again. It's a smaller city, so you're more likely to meet someone, and you might see him next week, you might see him next month, but they're gonna remember, and they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, I met you here, and I had a really, yada yada, and we talked about this." Or it just surprises me how small of a city Portland is. I really like that homey feel. Yeah.
Yeah, where do you live now? Oh, yeah.
Like it's a city, but it has a small town feel.
Turtle, sit. Okay.
There you go. Good boy. Yay.
Good boy, T.
So it's a big city, you can still get to see the moon at night and the stars.